I have had a couple people ask me to remake. I made some videos a couple weeks ago for DNRS folk who are rewiring around sex because it's got a very specific relationship to the brain and a very specific chemistry, and when you're rewiring your brain, it it can be kind of an sticky area to rewire around. But what I wanted to do is just start off with something kind of not too intense, with body image, because that's something that's really potent and has a definitely plays a role in sex, but also plays a role in the rest of our lives because it's kind of like a good segue because it's connected to our self image and all into our our sexuality. So I'm going to start with body image. That was what I started with before too, but I have a little better idea this time of what I want to talk about. So the first thing when it comes to body image is, and this is something that I know both from theory and from experience, that your brain's perception of you isn't accurate. For most people, like most of us don't perceive ourselves accurately. And to define what accurate is through the eyes of love. Anything else is a skewed perception. Anything else is limbic. Limbic is the analyzing and the picking apart and the judging and the comparing, and that kind of mindset is a very limbic mindset when it comes to how we view our bodies. So love sees things the way children do. Children just see bodies as bodies, and they love their bodies innately. I know I talk a lot about kids in these videos because they're kind of my role models in rewiring. I want to go back to being a child, but with the maturity of an adult. And because they really do see the world correctly, and most adults don't. I don't know how many people watching remember being a kid and thinking like, the grown-ups just don't get it. Like they don't understand life. And it's so true. Grown-ups don't get life. So that's why I use that analogy a lot. And I have one specific experience too with this, and some tips of how to get yourself into a different mindset of how you view your own body. Because first it starts with just taking the sexuality piece out of the picture even, and just accepting your body as it is for its own sake, just because it's yours and you only have one, and this is the one you're with. And the only appropriate response to a human being is love, and to our bodies as well, from ourselves. Like our bodies are part of us, they're a physical expression of us, and they deserve to be loved. So my story is that I think I've said this a number of times. I used to have an eating disorder and an exercise disorder, and I had body image problems starting from the time I was 5 until, oh gosh, like a couple weeks ago. I had a kind of resurgence, and I was like, squash those pops, I'm done with this BS, because it's just not fun to deal with that. And I've had extended periods of time of not having any issues in that area, but I really kind of killed the last couple ones in the last 2 weeks. But one day while I was in the process of doing this, I remember like I could tell that part of my brain was really active and was really trying to get me hooked into these thoughts about my body and how it wasn't good enough, and how I had to push myself to exercise more, or I wasn't allowed to sit down and rest and read a book until I had done a bunch of exercise or whatever, because it's like, you've got too much body fat right now, you're not good enough, your legs are too fat, you've got too much fat in your stomach, yada 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 yada, like then the kind of the usual modern female chatter in the brain about body image. And what I did was I spent my day rewiring. I kept all, like I could feel it kind of under the surface, but I just ignored it, and I focused on what I was doing, and I elevated my mood a lot. And at the end of the day, I spent an hour dancing by myself because I love dancing, and I dance in front of actually this particular screen because I don't have a mirror in my bedroom. So I use this as a mirror so that I can kind of dance with myself and get that connection and appreciate my own movements and my own body as I dance, because dance for me is a really, really potent expression of self and creativity, and a really powerful way for me to learn to accept myself and my body both. And by the end of the day, after elevating my mood all day, I was like watching myself dance, and I was like, I look amazing. Like there's nothing wrong with my body. It's fine the way it is. And it was literally like the same body I'd had all day, but instead of having this like nagging feeling that I kind of had to push off all day, I got to the point where my mood was elevated enough and I was just so enjoying the movement that I looked in the mirror and I saw what was actually there. Because this is the thing, a lot of times, and I know there are definitely plenty of men who have this problem. I don't know exactly how it plays out because I don't have a man's body, but I know for a lot of women, we look at our bodies in the mirror and we see something that isn't there. We see like all these, we see only the imperfections, because again, that's the lens. It's love sees everything as a whole, but the limbic system and this kind of judgment perspective literally focuses in on only what is wrong and only what we perceive to be a problem and only what other people have that we don't, because we're always, of course, bombarded with images of what is supposed to be perfect, which I had a friend point out to me once, that there is no such thing as perfect. One of the principles of neuroplasticity is repetition, and one of the reasons we have body image problems in this perception of such a thing as a perfect body is that we're fed this concept that there is such a thing, that it's necessary for us in order to be loved and accepted as human beings in the world by our friends and our family and everyone we know. It's necessary for us to be desirable. It's necessary for our survival. We get this concept of a perfect body and that it's required to be loved. And the reality, and then it gets repeated over and over and over, and not even like explicitly, but just even implicitly in everything in the world. There's this concept that you're a better person if you're fit, which there's a small seed of truth somewhere in there, because being alive, generally, if you're a very alive person, you're going to be moving and you're going to be more fit naturally, but it comes from being alive, not from forcing yourself into that. So don't trust your brain. It's kind of principle number one when it comes to body image. Do not trust your own perception of your body. Work to see yourself through the eyes of love and elevate your mood. The more you spend time in joy and in calm and in bliss and in peace, it's going to literally clear your vision and help you see what's actually there. And this is also part of a self-love. I think is probably more closely related to what other people talk about self-love, is learning to appreciate yourself, because you are you. No one else is going to appreciate you for you. This is a concept we have too when it comes to romantic relationships, that your partner is supposed to be the one who appreciates you for you. Especially, again, I'm saving everything from the feminine side because I'm a female. Like, I know this old concept I used to have that my husband or my man was supposed to make me feel beautiful and tell me I was beautiful and make me feel this certain way. And then I realized that that wasn't true. And that's my job, because I can't come to him confidently and kind of bathe him in my beauty if I don't believe I have any. And besides which, like, sometimes he's busy and stressed out and he doesn't have time to notice. And as women, we need to be affirmed regularly. So I made a practice back when my marriage was basically not really active, of just telling myself I was beautiful, giving myself that compliment whenever I wanted it, and looking in the mirror and being like, you're gorgeous and you should know that. Like, you're beautiful and you should know it. And it's just, it became this kind of self-nurturing process of me appreciating my unique beauty that's not like anyone else's. And yeah, I'm not the most beautiful woman in the world, but we all have something that's ours. And it's a matter of treasuring it as a gift and getting to know ourselves and appreciate ourselves almost as if we were someone else. Again, it's this kind of detachment and appreciation, and that will change your brain's perception of what you see in the mirror. The more you take the time to step back and see yourself objectively and look for the good things about you, both inside and out, that will just change that lens from a lens of judgment to a lens of love. So even if you focus on loving your inside, like kind of what's, who you are, that will change your perspective of what you look like. It'll also change what you look like, but that's a whole other thing. There's this other cool aspect. So in the process of rewiring our brains, we talk about these two alternate chemistries, which are basically relaxation chemistry and stress chemistry. So relaxation chemistry would be, imagine you are doing whatever it is that you love, like whether that's hanging out with your favorite people, going out to a restaurant, hiking, running, biking, reading, creating art, whatever it is that makes you feel really alive and really relaxed and really present. That is that's called, I'm not going to get into the details. For my DNA source, that's your dose chemistry. And then CAN chemistry, dose is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. That's your relaxation response. CAN is cortisol, adrenaline, and norepinephrine, and that's your stress response. So that would be, again, like, think of, being in a traffic jam, or, you get that in more like the short spurts when there's imminent danger. But then if you're just in a stressful situation at home or at work, and it's just this chronic kind of always feeling pressured or stressed, those are both forms of a stress response. And the body's systems cannot work properly. Like, digestion slows down, your metabolism slows down. There's this whole cascade of things that happen when you're in can chemistry, when you're in stress chemistry, that negatively impact your body's ability to function properly, and negatively impact your health, which ultimately negatively impacts your appearance as well as your effectiveness as a person, your ability to work and ability to, use your power and create an outcome. So part of the process of getting to a place where you are comfortable with your body, both emotionally and in terms of if you want to change it physically, is accepting yourself where you are and celebrating what you have right now, and then kind of inviting in more. Instead of looking at the end result of what you want and pushing yourself and pressuring yourself to line up with this image you have in your mind of what you want your body to look like, or what you want your life to look like, or what you want yourself to be, it's more of a matter of having kind of an open-ended idea of, I want to be the best version of myself. And for me, that included an acknowledgement that I don't know what that looks like, because I understand that I've been fed all these ideas by my world, and I actually don't know what my best version of me even looks like. I don't know what weight or what size or what shape I'll be when I'm in the best shape of my life. I don't know. I'm open to anything amazing, and at the same time working on accepting my body just as it is right now. And the power of that is that when you accept and love yourself, the sense of acceptance and love you get brings dose chemistry. It causes its own relaxation response, which improves your metabolism, improves your digestion, which then improves your skin and improves your smile. And like, I've literally grown dimples, and my facial structure has changed since I started doing DNRS. Like, there's so many things about our appearance that change when we are relaxed consistently. And when you're also in the moment and you're relaxed, you're less likely to, like, you're more likely to make good choices. You have all of your brain functions, so you can decide, when you're not stressed, you're much less likely to be craving, junk food or dessert. When you're stressed out, you're much more likely to be craving that. So staying in dose chemistry allows you to make good choices about sleep, good choices about exercise, good choices about food in a way that is easy and natural, because when you're relaxed, it's kind of automatic. You crave healthy food. You want to go to sleep. You're much more likely to want to exercise than if you're stressed out and sleep deprived. So there's kind of this positive snowball effect that happens when you accept yourself as you are, with this open mindset of growth. Like, I'm not going to stay exactly the same. I accept myself exactly as I am, and I want to move forward, and I want to grow, and I want to evolve. And when you start from that place of acceptance, the relaxation it gives you, the ability to relax into what is and allow your brain to kind of be in its natural relaxed state, just gives you that much more power to get where you want to go, and makes the process slower or faster, makes it easier. And when you're not attached to the outcome, you can live every day enjoying it to the full and appreciating any positive shift you have, whether that's better skin or more energy, or, faster speeds if you're running, longer walking distances if you're walking, weight loss if that's something you're interested in, muscle gain, anything. Like, all of those things can be celebrated along the way, but you're enjoying every day, because that's all we have is right now. All we have is today. So we get to enjoy every day to the full, but then also keep growing our kind of net result, and getting closer and closer to the ideal that we want. So that's number 2, is kind of the power we get from accepting ourselves that allows us to move forward. Accepting ourselves isn't an excuse not to move forward. It's something that's jet fuel for moving forward. When you accept yourself as you are, it gives you much more ability to move forward easily. Number 3, removing limiting beliefs. And it's kind of connected to number 4, which is about self-image. So a lot of us have beliefs and habits and ways of seeing ourselves that, again, aren't accurate, and keep our bodies stuck where they are. Because as I've explained about, like, the core beliefs video and some of my past videos, I mean, everything you believe has an impact on your thoughts and emotions, which create your chemistry, which creates your body and your life and every experience you have. If you have limiting beliefs about yourself, especially in relation to body image, if you have that constant negative chatter about, I'm always going to be fat, I'm always going to have bad skin, I'm always going to have thin hair, I'm always going to blah, 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 Or even just, there's always women out there who are more beautiful than I am, or guys out there who are more attractive, who get more women than I do, or whatever the beliefs are kind of running in the back of your mind that make you feel stuck. Because again, those things are going to lead to those feelings of stuckness and lack that are going to cause a stress response. They're going to put you in victim mode of feeling like you have no power. And that's why they're called limiting beliefs, because they're not true. They're like these, I always kind of see it like, there's a scene in the Matrix where they like poke reality, and it's like this kind of gooey stuff, and it's like you can just poke through it and just tear a hole in it and go through. Like there's nothing, it's not even a glass ceiling, it's more like this malleable thing you can kind of just poke through and exit to up to the next level. But if we have limiting beliefs about ourselves, or ideas and thoughts about our bodies and what they are based on the past, that's not valid, because we all have infinite potential, but only if we acknowledge that there is something possible that we have never experienced in the past. We have to let go of the concepts of who we are, what, you say, oh, I just don't like to exercise. I'm just a couch potato. I just love chips. I just blah, 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 blah. There's all these kind of ideas we get wrapped up, and they become part of our identity. And that's where it gets kind of tricky, because that's not who you are. That's something you picked up and kind of like taped on to your identity, but it's not really you. So one of the things we have to do if we really genuinely want to achieve optimal well-being and a sense of ease in our bodies, because it's both a way we perceive ourselves and what action are we taking to take care of our bodies so that we can feel at home and comfortable in them, so that we're honoring our true needs when it comes to things like food and sleep and exercise and indulgence, like hot showers or cold showers, or hot yoga, or extra time stretching, or whatever that, like, getting a massage. Like sometimes you need those extra things in order to feel your best. If you're kind of recovering from years of being stuck in a chronic stress response, sometimes it takes a little TLC to kind of get the body to just so those are all things. And then there's of course the beliefs about what we deserve. That's huge. Do you believe that you deserve to live in your best body? Do you trust yourself with the power that comes from being really attractive and being really beautiful? Are you afraid of the attention you're going to get from being more attractive? I mean, I can't tell you, I've been hit on more times in the last couple weeks than I have my whole life. I just got asked for my number for the first time ever, and I've been married for 10 years and I have 5 kids. It's like, well, obviously my energy changed, but I also let go of the fear of being more attractive and what attention that might, like, I chose to believe that I have the power to handle that. And in the past, I literally never came this far in the past because I was afraid of the attention I knew I would get as a more attractive woman. I didn't know I'd be able to handle it. So now I know I can smile and wave and be grateful for the compliments and comments and, requests I receive from random men out and about, and just take it as a compliment and move on with my life. And I'm not afraid of that anymore. Whereas in the past I was terrified of it. So it kind of held me back because I didn't want to have to deal with that. So there's just, as you can see, there's just pretty much infinite ways this can play out. So this is just my personal example of what kind of beliefs can get in the way of creating and allowing the body and the experience of being in our body that we really want. It's more a matter of clearing out everything that's in the way, kind of macheting the brush to let yourself come out. And then, so yeah, self-image, removing limiting beliefs. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now. But all of this, this is obviously just kind of precursor when it comes to videos about rewiring and sexuality, because it's just important. I find it really important to be comfortable and really in your body. And I don't know, this is kind of a concept that I talk about with some of my friends, and I know it's something I've experienced. I'm not sure how many people out there who haven't done DNRS have that experience of being in your head where you feel like you really, like, your consciousness is not in your body. You're not really here in this room, in your body, feeling like what's underneath you, feeling the sensation of the softness of your clothing, or the coolness of the air in your skin, or the taste of your food. You're kind of above your body. Like your consciousness is up in your head thinking constantly. And in my opinion, before you move into something like sex, it's really important to just practice being in your body and enjoying that. It just is a simple practice. Just to practice, enjoying the feeling of the sun on your skin, or the air on your skin, or the shower, or the taste of food, or, you know, just cuddling with kids or friends or putting on a sweatshirt. Like, those are really great and really important first steps to allowing yourself to receive love through your senses. That's, in order to have good sex, you have to be able to do that first. Because sex is like that, but times a bazillion, because the sensations are so much more intense. So it's really good practice for people who want to move towards an improved sex life or accept, you know, experience in that arena, to have this basic ability to create a life where you're in your body and you can enjoy the experience of being in your body, enjoy the experience of the senses, and be open to receiving that love and believing that you deserve it and believing that you should have it and believing that it's meant for you. That all comes first. That's the foundation. So that's what this is all about. And then I'll move on to some more intense topics later. But this is the first chunk for you. So again, love thoughts, love comments, love feedback. I love everyone. I love you all. Mwah.